Hello. Well, it's getting near Christmas and I've got an idea for a party dish, perhaps having fondue. Well, the idea of fondue comes from Switzerland, where they have it in the mountains very often, and for a fondue, ideally you need a fondue set, which I've got here, or you could do it on top of the cooker at home in an ordinary pan if you like. On the stove I've got this cheese fondue, and it's really like a glorified cheese sauce, a very luxurious one, and you have it perhaps at a wine and cheese party or a beer and cheese party, and you have it as a speciality dish, and you dip bread on the end of a fork into this and you taste the delicious sauce. Now to the fondue set underneath. I'm taking off the pan, putting it on the stove. Now this is really a bit like a camping stove. You can do it on a camping stove, but it should be very, very stable if you do. I have lit this stove, so I'm taking the precaution I don't burn myself, and take off the rack which you set the pan on the top. Now underneath I have there's a little top, and you can see a flame there, and that flame is a sort of a wadding of wool covered by mesh, which comes with the kit, and you pour methylated spirits into there when it's absolutely stone cold, and then you light the methylated spirits, and then you slip this on top. It's got a wooden handle so I don't burn myself, and you have complete control of it, because if you turn it one way you let more air into the flame, which makes it come higher, and then you close it off if you want it low, which I want at the moment. So I'm going to leave this cooking. Even the handle doesn't get hot. Whoops, I haven't put on the base. Here we are, the base. If I put it down on the flame it wouldn't balance. It's all very hot. And there goes the rack on top, and on goes the cheese fondue. Now there's another kind of fondue, the meat fondue, which I'll show you how to make later. So now to the cheese one. This is a Swiss recipe, and for the true Swiss recipe you need 2 Swiss cheeses. And first of all there's the Gruyere cheese. That's a hard, flavoursome cheese without or hardly any holes in. And then you have the Emmental cheese, which has big holes in. And you grate the cheese, half a pound of each, and that is the basis of this sauce. And then you put garlic with it to a clove. Now let's imagine we haven't got a fondue set. You can do it in an ordinary pan, and put half the cheese, and the lighter one is the Gruyere cheese. Now if you don't want to use Swiss cheese, it is rather expensive, but it does give the nice consistency, a nice sort of thready consistency full of flavour. You could use Gouda cheese or well-flavoured cheddar cheese. So the cheese is in. Now goes the garlic through the press, because we don't want any big bits. Then I've got 3/4 of a pint of wine, and I've put a little bit of the wine in this jug here, about 3 tablespoonfuls, and the rest of the wine goes in the pan. Gargle, gargle, gargle. Actually, there was a bit of sediment in the bottom of this bottle. It didn't matter one bit, and it's an ideal way of using it if you're making fondue. Then, if you're doing it on an electrical gas stove on a very, very low heat, and let that dissolve. And you must stir it at all times. It shouldn't boil, because if it boils it'll go all stringy. Just stir it all the time, and then when it becomes like a smooth sauce, you mix corn flour, and that's an ounce, which is a rounded tablespoon, and you mix that with the reserved wine, and you add that when it's like a thick sauce into the mixture, and let it thicken, stirring all the time. Now that is on such a low heat that you can just see at the very bottom here it's just starting to melt. You want it to melt very, very slowly. Then when it's thickened, you have it like it is on the cooker here. Oh, the smell is just lovely. And I'm stirring it. Now I haven't seasoned it yet. You want salt and pepper. I think actually in the original Swiss recipes that I was looking at, I think it said fine pepper, but I like it coarse. And you stir it well in. And if a crust comes on the bottom, that's the absolute luxury, rather like a toasted Welsh rabbit. If you get the crust at the bottom, that really is the best part to eat. So that's lovely and smooth now. And if you want a touch of luxury, you can put a little bit of kirsch in the top. That's not absolutely necessary, but it does make it very, very good. Now let me just show you how to eat it. Take a fondue fork. Now that's a fondue fork, just a 2-prong, quite sharp fork. but you could use an ordinary dinner fork and then take a wedge of bread. It could be nice brown bread if you like, but it must be crisp. Then just dip it in like this and then just whirl it round, and don't have this near your carpet. Make sure that you've perhaps got a plastic top table or something so that if anybody drops it, it doesn't go on the floor. And turn that round and then eat it just like this. It's good. Let me give you the recipe. 1 clove of garlic, and that should be crushed. Scant 3/4 pint of dry white wine or cider, no more. 8 ounces of Swiss Emmental cheese, 8 ounces of Swiss Gruyere cheese, or you could use a pound of well-flavoured Dutch or English cheddar. 1 ounce of corn flour, salt and ground black pepper, and a tablespoon of kirsch if you like.